Everybody, welcome to the Impressionist Podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, Shawn, joined with Ella and Sandra. Today we are going to be talking about Claude Monet and the Impressionist movement on the Impressionist Podcast. Quick introduction about Claude Monet. Claude Monet, full name Oscar Claude Monet, is a renowned French Impressionist painter who was born on November 14th, 1840 in Paris, France. Widely regarded as one of the most influential artists of both the 19th and 20th century, Monet's work had a big impact on the development of modern art, especially the Impressionist movement, where he captured multiple paintings with great color and light and painted with different subjects to start the Impressionist movement, which came from one of his paintings called Impression Sunrise. Monet moved to Le Havre, which is a small town in Normandy, when he was a child, and he showed an early talent for drawing caricatures and began selling his sketches to different locals. In his late teens, he moved back to Paris to pursue art seriously, which is highly against his father's wishes, and we're glad that he did because obviously now he is the great artist that we know today. He married Camille Dontiu in 1870 and had two children, but financial struggles in his early career led to periods of hardship for his whole entire family. And lastly, Monet passed away December 5th, 1926, at the age of 86, and his work had a profound impact on the development of modern art, influencing subsequent generations of artists, showing his importance for the future.
In the art world, Claude Monet was considered the father of the French Impressionist movement that took place in the 19th century. Claude Monet created the Impressionist movement in means of art. Monet created all the techniques and color schemes that came to light during the Impressionist movement. The Impressionist movement was called the Impressionist movement because he wanted to give an impression of what he actually saw and then turn into a painting. He created beautiful works of art that invoked movement. Claude Monet used expressive light brushstrokes and some abstract shapes and the use of light colors. Most of his paintings depicted beautiful scenery, landscapes, and various leisure activities. His paintings took place in Paris, France. Most of his paintings center around weather and time of day as well. Claude Monet's work also inspired many other important artists. The notable names would be Vincent van Gogh, Pierre Bonnard, and Henri Matisse. They all used his very expressive and spontaneous works of art and translated it into American styles that we still use today. Next time you look into your living room and see that beautiful light-colored landscape painting, you know Monet inspired it.
Impression Sunrise, which is Monet's most famous painting, anchored the name of the Impressionist art movement during the 19th century. The Impression Sunrise is an oil painting of the sun rising in the distance, painted in 1872, which was created from a scene in the port of Le Havre. The sun, a red light that serves as the composition's main focus, along with some tiny steamboats in the background, is definitely the most well-known feature. His painting, which is located in a French lake, Monet paints a mist that creates a foggy background. The dark boats, which the audience can barely see any details right away, contrasts well with the reddish and yellow tones. The background boats appear to be almost pushed by the movement of the water, which makes for an amazing and realistic piece of art. This painting was also a year after France lost war against Persia. This painting was accomplished with a unique brushstrokes that also shows the different colors glowing on the sea.
So today I am here with...
Hi, I'm Shawn Coughlin. I'm a master's student in art history, and I also work for the education department here at the Eskenazi Museum of Art.
Thank you for joining us today. So we are going to be talking about Claude Monet and the Impressionist movement. So my first question for you is, I've done a lot of extensive research and I've found that Claude Monet is called the father of the Impressionist movement. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, wow, that's interesting. I don't know. I probably wouldn't. I don't know if I'd make the same call. I think generally, if I think of the father of Impressionism, even though he might not agree with this whatsoever, someone like Monet or Manet comes to mind for me. Edward Manet, and some of the paintings that he did, although he sort of explicitly didn't exhibit with the Impressionists when they would do their own art shows. But Monet and Manet were friendly and artistically aware of each other, but he definitely wouldn't accept that title, so maybe someone like Monet would be a better choice, but yeah.
So do you think that he is, why do you think he is important to the Impressionist movement?
Oh, yeah, well, I mean, particularly for us looking back through time and in our contemporary moment, trying to get an idea of what the Impressionist movement was, I think not only do we have a certain level of access to a lot of his works, but he produced a lot of his stuff, and I think his artwork is very exemplary of things that we associate with the Impressionist movement. And so kind of retroactively, in a way, I think he's become very important because he embodies a lot of those things, like of movement and weather and time and light, things that the Impressionist artists were interested in. But I guess I don't know myself the kind of Monet's relationship to some of the other kind of impressive Impressionist artists, people like Caillebotte and Cassatt and some other folks. Yeah.
Thank you. So we're currently sitting in the Eskenazi Art Museum in the European and American Art Plaza, and I was just wondering, for my last question, if you have a favorite Impressionist movement piece by Claude Monet or anyone else.
Oh, that's a great question. I'm trying to remember the name of it. There's the picture by by Caillebotte that is of this rainy street, and it has people sort of walking back and forth, and in the middle of it there's a large kind of what looks like the Flatiron Building in the middle as folks are moving back and forth. Probably one of my more favorite pictures.
Thank you so much for speaking with me today.
Yeah, of course.
We want to thank everybody once again for listening to the Impressionist Podcast. I'm your co-host Shawn, joined with Ella and Sandre. We hope everybody has a great day and had a great listen. Bye-bye.